high in the Ural Mountains of Russia, a place known for its rugged beauty and harsh winters. A chilling event unfolded in 1959 that would leave the world with more questions than answers. 9 experienced hikers, all young and full of life, perished under mysterious circumstances that have puzzled experts for decades. This event, now known as the Dyatlov Pass incident, continues to baffle researchers and investigators who have spent countless hours trying to piece together what happened. The hikers' deaths remain an unsolved puzzle, with many unanswered questions and theories that range from the plausible to the bizarre. What happened on that fateful night in the freezing wilderness? What could have driven these experienced hikers to abandon their tent and flee into the deadly cold? We'll delve into the chilling details of the incident and explore the various theories surrounding it, from natural disasters to more sinister explanations. The incident occurred in February 1959, during the heart of the Soviet winter, a time when the Ural Mountains are particularly unforgiving. The hikers, all members of a sports club at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, set out on an ambitious ski trek that was meant to test their skills and endurance. Their destination was Mount Otorten, a remote peak in the northern Urals, known for its challenging terrain and extreme weather conditions. Led by Igor Dyatlov, an experienced mountaineer and the group's namesake, the team consisted of 8 young men and 2 women, all of whom were well-versed in the rigors of winter trekking. They were well-equipped and prepared for the challenging conditions, carrying everything they needed to survive the harsh environment. However, despite their preparation and experience, they would never complete their journey. Something went terribly wrong. The group's last known campsite was discovered weeks later, abandoned and in disarray, with no immediate signs of what had caused them to leave so suddenly. The hikers' tent had been cut open from the inside, and their belongings were scattered around the area, as if they had left in a state of panic. Footprints in the snow indicated that the hikers had fled the camp in a hurry, wearing little more than their sleepwear, despite the freezing temperatures. The scene suggested a sudden and terrifying event, but what exactly transpired remains a mystery. Was it an avalanche, a wild animal attack, or something more otherworldly? Join us as we unravel the enigma of the Dyatlov Pass incident, a story that continues to haunt and intrigue to this day. The group of hikers who embarked on the fateful expedition were all experienced outdoors enthusiasts. They were studying various technical disciplines at the Ural Polytechnic Institute and shared a passion for adventure. Igor Dyatlov, the group's leader, was a skilled skier and mountaineer. He was known for his meticulous planning and leadership abilities. The other members of the group were equally enthusiastic and capable. Zinaida Kolmogorova, at 22, was the oldest of the women and known for her cheerful disposition. Lyudmila Dubinina, at 20, was studying radio engineering and brought a camera to document the trip. The youngest member of the group was Yuri Krivonishenko, a 23-year-old with a passion for singing and storytelling. These young people were filled with dreams and aspirations. They were on the cusp of their adult lives, eager to make their mark on the world. Their shared love for exploration and adventure brought them together, but their journey would end in tragedy. Their story serves as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the wilderness and the enduring power of mystery. The group's expedition began on January 25, 1959. This was no ordinary journey. It was a meticulously planned adventure into one of the most remote and challenging environments on Earth. The team, consisting of 9 experienced hikers, was led by Igor Dyatlov, a seasoned mountaineer with a passion for exploring the unknown. Each member of the group brought unique skills and strengths, making them a formidable team ready to face the harshest of conditions. They set off from the town of Ivdel, their spirits high despite the challenging conditions. The small town, nestled in the northern Ural Mountains, was the last bastion of civilization before they plunged into the wilderness. As they left the warmth and safety of Ivdel behind, the reality of their undertaking began to sink in. The snow was deep, the air was biting cold, and the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Their goal was to reach Mount Otorten, a journey that would take them through dense forests and over treacherous mountain passes. The route was known for its difficulty, with steep inclines and unpredictable weather patterns. The hikers knew that every step forward would be a test of their endurance and resilience. The dense forests offered some protection from the wind, but they also presented their own set of challenges, including navigating through thick underbrush and avoiding hidden obstacles beneath the snow. The hikers were well equipped with skis, tents, and provisions for their 2-week journey. They had spent months preparing for this expedition, ensuring they had the best gear available. Their backpacks were filled with food, medical supplies, and extra clothing to protect against the freezing temperatures. Each member carried a portion of the group's equipment, distributing the weight evenly to conserve energy. Their skis allowed them to glide over the snow, making travel slightly easier, but the heavy packs and rough terrain still made for a grueling trek. They carried cameras to document their adventure and shared a sense of excitement for the challenges ahead. Photography was not just a hobby for them, it was a way to capture the beauty and harshness of their surroundings, to create lasting memories of their journey. They took photos of each other, the stunning landscapes, and the various milestones they reached along the way. These images would later become crucial in piecing together the story of their expedition. Their journey began with a sense of camaraderie and purpose. The bond between the hikers was strong, forged through shared experiences and a mutual love for adventure. They laughed, sang songs, and encouraged each other as they made their way through the snow. This sense of unity was vital, as it helped them to stay motivated and focused, even when the going got tough. The challenges they faced only served to strengthen their resolve and deepen their friendship. They faced the harsh winter conditions with determination, their spirits buoyed by the breathtaking beauty of the Ural Mountains. The landscape was both awe-inspiring and intimidating, with towering peaks and vast expanses of snow stretching as far as the eye could see. The cold was relentless, seeping through their clothing and chilling them to the bone, but the stunning vistas provided a constant reminder of why they had embarked on this journey. Each day brought new challenges, but also new opportunities to witness the raw, untamed beauty of nature. They documented their progress through photographs and diary entries, capturing the camaraderie and challenges of their expedition. The diaries were filled with detailed accounts of their daily activities, the obstacles they encountered, and their thoughts and feelings about the journey. These written records provided a personal insight into the experiences of each hiker, revealing their hopes, fears, and the strong sense of determination that drove them forward. The act of writing and taking photos also served as a way to stay connected to the world they had left behind, a reminder of the lives and loved ones waiting for them back home. Days turned into nights as the hikers ventured deeper into the wilderness. The nights were particularly challenging, with temperatures plummeting and the darkness bringing an eerie stillness to the landscape. Around the campfire, they would share stories, plan the next day's route, and try to keep their spirits high. The warmth of the fire provided some comfort, but it was a constant battle to stay warm and dry. The isolation of the wilderness was profound, and the vast, silent expanse of snow and trees seemed to stretch on forever. They faced blizzards, sub-zero temperatures, and difficult terrain. The weather was unpredictable, with sudden storms that could last for hours or even days. The blizzards reduced visibility to almost nothing, making navigation extremely difficult and increasing the risk of getting lost. The sub-zero temperatures were a constant threat, with frostbite and hypothermia being real dangers. Despite these challenges, the hikers pressed on, driven by their goal and the knowledge that they were part of something extraordinary. Their progress was slow but steady, and their spirits remained high. Each step forward was a victory, a testament to their perseverance and determination. They took turns leading the group, breaking trail through the deep snow and ensuring that everyone stayed on course. The physical exertion was immense, but they supported each other, sharing the load and encouraging one another to keep going. The sense of accomplishment they felt with each passing day was a powerful motivator, driving them to push through the fatigue and discomfort. However, the unforgiving wilderness held dangers they could not have anticipated. The terrain was treacherous, with hidden crevasses and unstable snow that could give way without warning. The isolation meant that help was far away, and any injury or mishap could have serious consequences. The hikers were constantly vigilant, aware that a single mistake could be fatal. Despite their careful planning and preparation, the wilderness had a way of throwing unexpected challenges their way, testing their limits and forcing them to adapt quickly. As they ventured further into the mountains, a sense of unease began to creep into their journey. The landscape, once beautiful and inspiring, began to feel ominous and foreboding. The weather grew harsher, and the path ahead seemed to become more difficult with each passing day. The hikers couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that something was out there in the wilderness, waiting. This growing sense of dread added a new layer of tension to their expedition, making every step forward feel like a step into the unknown. Weeks passed with no word from the hikers. The silence was deafening, and the once hopeful anticipation turned into a gnawing dread. Each day without news felt like an eternity for the families and friends of the missing hikers. Concern grew among their families and friends. They clung to the hope that the hikers were merely delayed, perhaps due to bad weather or minor injuries. But as days turned into weeks, that hope began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of urgency and fear. Eventually, a search party was organized to locate the missing group. Volunteers from nearby towns, seasoned mountaineers, and even some of the hikers' friends joined forces, determined to bring them back safely. The harsh winter conditions made the search even more challenging, but their resolve was unwavering. The search party followed the hikers' planned route, their anxieties growing with each passing day. The trail was treacherous, with deep snow and biting winds, but they pressed on, driven by the hope of finding their friends alive. The discovery of the group's abandoned campsite sent chills down their spines. The scene was eerily quiet, the only sound being the howling wind. The tent stood there, partially collapsed and covered in snow, a silent witness to whatever had transpired. The tent was found on a slope of Kholat Syakhl, the dead mountain in the language of the indigenous Mansi people. This place had a reputation for being treacherous, and the name itself evoked a sense of foreboding. It was partially collapsed and covered in snow, but what lay inside was even more disturbing. The tent's interior was in disarray, with personal belongings scattered haphazardly, as if the hikers had left in a great hurry. The hikers' belongings were scattered around the tent, as if they had left in a hurry. There were clothes, shoes, and even food supplies left behind, items that would have been essential for their survival in such harsh conditions. Their shoes, extra clothing, and food supplies were left behind. It was as if they had fled the tent in a state of panic, abandoning everything in their wake. This only added to the growing sense of unease among the search party. The discovery only deepened the mystery. Why would experienced hikers, who knew the importance of their gear, abandon their shelter and supplies in such a hostile environment? The questions were endless, and the answers seemed elusive. Why would experienced hikers abandon their shelter in such harsh conditions? The search party members were baffled. They knew that leaving the tent without proper gear could be a death sentence in the freezing temperatures. The search party followed the footprints leading away from the campsite. The tracks were faint, partially covered by fresh snow, but they were the only clue they had. They hoped the footprints would lead them to the missing hikers. The tracks led down the slope towards a nearby forest, but they soon disappeared in the snow. The forest was dense and foreboding, and the fading light made the search even more difficult. The mystery deepened with each passing hour. The search party was left with more questions than answers. What had driven the hikers to leave their tent? Where had they gone? And most importantly, were they still alive? The hikers had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of baffling clues. Each clue seemed to raise more questions than it answered, and the search party was determined to uncover the truth. The search party pressed on, determined to find answers. They knew that time was of the essence, and every moment counted. The harsh conditions and the growing sense of dread only fueled their determination to solve the mystery and bring the hikers home.